The DAR, or the Daily Activity Report, is a document that is uploaded to Box that details the activity of the property for a certain day. It is essentially a snapshot of the property's performance metrics: traffic coming in, leasings, renewals, NTVs, collections, and physical occupancy. If you can see here in our sample, this DAR is from January 5th. We can see that the property got no leases, and as a result had no leases that were canceled or denied. This is a rather large property, so they did have 8 transfers, and it details out where those transfers are coming from and where they're going and the day that they're transferring. It also shows us what the traffic was. Here we have 3 visits, 2 of which were revisits. We had no phone calls and no emails. In parentheses, we can also see where the marketing source that visitor came from. So this phone call was actually coming from signage that they must have seen as they were driving by. We had 4 move-ins on January 5th for this property, 3 of which were 12-month leases, 1 of which was a 6-month lease. We also see what the move-in schedule looks like and the move-out schedule. And we can also see why people are moving out. So this is helpful to know, because if we start seeing a lot of move-outs happening because the rents are getting too high, maybe that's something that we need to adjust on our weekly calls and talk about. Otherwise, we can't really do something about an employment transfer, or if they say that they're not comfortable with the crime at the property. See how many pre-leased NTVs we have? 7. We see what the plan of action is here. So we see that this person is a notice to vacate because their roommate is leaving, and the property staff is trying to save that unit. So they may be offering them a studio or a 1-bedroom, something that may be a little more economical for them, so that we don't lose that resident. We have 3 down units at this property. We have 3 downed apartment buildings and a 4th, which is the model. We had 1 move out on January 5th, and we received 2 more NTVs, as well as 2 skips, which are never a great thing. But we did get 1 renewal. We renewed unit 2310, and we renewed them for 12 months, and we upgraded their appliances. If your property is on a drive to 95, meaning that you have not yet stabilized at 95% occupancy, you could be placed on the drive to 95, and in the drive to 95, you are given specific goals as to how many leases that you need to hit in order to get 95% occupancy. Here we can see that this property was on a drive to 95 and that their weekly goal was 1 lease, so they were pretty close to achieving 95%. We see here that they actually leased 2 leases for this week. However, 1 of them was denied, so they have 1 of 1 leases, ultimately meeting their drive to 95. This is what CRP is really looking at on a daily basis from here down. We're looking at what your occupancy is, where you're pre-leased, if you've filed any evictions, and what your delinquency is. We can also see that the property has banked $367,000 for the month, which is great, and they anticipate to have about $1,700 worth of skips. Just on January 5th alone, on the day that the DAR was created, they collected $233,000. So I think they were pretty busy knocking on doors and sending out flyers. They still have $64,000 more to collect. And that's pretty good considering it was only the 5th for this sample property we have here. We also ask that you list what are your current specials for the week so we can keep track of it. And it also helps us make sure that we're on the same page, because we may think that you're running a special and it could be completely different from the special that you actually list. So all of this information here is really important for us to have on a daily basis. We do ask that all the DARs be turned in the following day by 11 a.m. CST. So although this covered all of the events that happened on the property on January 5th, this would actually be turned in by January 6th at 11 a.m. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask your regional or reach out to CRP.